עם ישראל, עם ישראל, עם ישראל חי. 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 נצח לא מפחד, לא מפחד מדרך ארוכה.
Alright everybody, this is what's going on. First of all, it's freezing out. It's like the coldest days of Israel all year so far, and our winter is supposed to be snowy here over the next few days. Freezing. And yet, here you see people come out to the streets to protest for a strong Israel. Right? 100 intersections all across the country. You have Israelis out in the streets tonight. Tonight, freezing cold weather. This is Gush Etzion. We got like the coldest winter of the whole country, but all over the country it's cold. And people are out in the streets to protest for a strong Israel. This government is hurting Israel, is weakening Israel. And the Israeli people, not just Jews, but many non-Jewish Israeli citizens who want Israel to be a strong Jewish country because they know they are safer in a strong Jewish country. They are out in the streets protesting with a strong message to this government. We want a strong Jewish identity for this country. We want sovereignty in this country. Let's see who's going to be talking now. The land of Israel belongs to the Jewish people, everybody. Shuli Me'ulam. The land of Israel is ours. Here Gush Etzion is ours. Jerusalem is ours. The Negev Desert is ours. Haifa is ours. Yaffo is ours. Akko is ours. The whole land of Israel. Anyone who's confused about this, and here we are. Let's go, let's go. Let's go. Tonight, people all over the country are standing in freezing cold weather at 100 summits, 100 intersections around the country with the clear message to the people of Israel and the government. The land of Israel belongs to the people of Israel. We're not giving up anything. The real challenge is the Jewish identity of the Jewish state of Israel. Or unfortunately, like some people in this government want, turning this country into a country that isn't Jewish anymore, but just a regular country for everyone without the Jewish identity. But we have to give the clear message. Israel is the Jewish country. It belongs to the Jewish people. And like to us, it is clear, without a Jewish identity, without the understanding that the state of Israel is the seat of God in this world, that is the message everyone has to understand and internalize. And together we all have to work, and we're all going to succeed together. Please God. Even though I see everyone's young here, I want to add some words to you. Not always was this thinking here. I want to tell you something. The reality, how things were before the Oslo Accords in 1993. Until the Oslo Accords in 1993, the land was ours. We went around here freely. There were no guards in the malls or in the schools, nowhere. There were no guards necessary. We were able to go everywhere. We were able to walk around the Arab villages. We weren't afraid, and they respected us because we liberated our homeland. And they looked at us with a respect, knowing that we were the owners of this land. This is our land. And they were nice to us. They didn't make too much trouble. That was until the Oslo peace process in 1993. The big fall, the big change. But I want you to know, the situation does not have to be like this with terror all the time and being afraid of the Arabs. If we truly rule properly, then the Arabs will know and accept that we are the rulers, and then they will respect us. We're not supposed to be afraid. This is our land and not their land. They should be afraid. I want you to know that the change we have to make is to get rid of the Oslo Accords. It was Oslo stole our land from us. Alright, here's the deal. This intersection behind you with all the traffic, this did not exist 50 years ago. We liberated our homeland. 1967, we liberated our homeland. There were no Jews here in 1967. Now you have traffic. Now you have building new roads, new intersections, new malls, and Jews in traffic in our homeland. With all of the horrible things our enemies try to do with us. With all of the horrible governments we do. Our own governments that do bad things to us. We are home and we are growing. Look at all this building going on. Look at all this building! You think Jews 100 years ago would have imagined that Jews would be building new roads in Judea and Samaria? You think that 100 years ago? Even 50 years ago? That man that spoke earlier, he lived here 50 years ago. You think he dreamed 50 years ago that there'd be Jews stuck in traffic here in the Judean hills in Gush Etzion 50 years later? No! That's unbelievable. We're growing. We're gonna survive. We're gonna survive all the terror of our enemies. We're gonna survive all of the bad governments we do that do horrible things and try to destroy the Jewish character of the state of Israel and try to destroy Jewish communities and weaken the Jewish character of the state of Israel and weaken Israel. We're gonna survive. We are survivors. We believe in God. We have to stay connected with our identity and keep on standing up. And like Rabbi Kimchi said, we have to remember. We have to judge ourselves. What are we doing? We handle it. We have the land of Israel. What are you doing that we hold on to the land of Israel? What are you doing to ensure that the Jewish character of the state of Israel remains strong and grows? What are you doing? Don't take your Jewish identity for granted. Don't take the land of Israel for granted. Each and every day, what are you doing to strengthen the land of Israel so that it's a great place, not just for all the Jews, but we are a blessing for all of the non-Jews who are blessed to live as citizens in the Jewish state of Israel. Out of here, folks. Praying to wake up as many people as possible, as quickly as possible, as many Jews as possible. Come home! Come home, be part of this miracle. What are you doing to help the Jewish people and help the Jewish state of Israel? Come home. Shalom, everyone. Am Yisrael Chai. I've lived here in Gush Etzion for 50 years. We knew all the stories about the establishments of Gush Etzion, even before the war. This intersection was tiny. It was a connection between Jerusalem and Hebron. It was a tiny road, tiny intersection. Those are the two important cities, Jerusalem and Hebron. Who dreamt of there being traffic at this intersection years ago? And now I came here 50 years ago. And I'm an old model. And I see the young generation. And let me give you some history about this, of what we're going through. Yaakov, our forefather, he came from north to south. Right, and he came from outside of the land of Israel, and then he was walking through the land, and he came to Beit Lechem, and then Rachel died, and he buried her at Beit Lechem, and it's written in the book of Bereshit, Genesis. And Yaakov, Israel, set up his tent at a certain place, Migdal Eder. So why does it tell us where he set up his tent after his wife Rachel died? Right, she died at Beit Lechem, and then he set up his ohel in Migdal Eder. And so the rabbis teach us that that is the name of the place is where Migdal Eder is where Yaakov then sat Shiva 7 days after Rachel died. So what's the how do we understand Migdal Eder? Is that the name of a place? So Yonatan ben Uziel, one of the commentators on the Bible, very important, he writes, Migdal Eder is a place where in the future the Mashiach will come from. Well, the Mashiach will come from in the future. Something from south of Beit Lechem. Migdal Eder is south of Beit Lechem. What is south of Beit Lechem? Gush Etzion, where we are today. It's here where the Mashiach is supposed to come out of. And that's why Yaakov, at that sad point in time when he was sad over Rachel's death, he set up his tent, and he was already looking thousands of years into the future that one day the Mashiach will come out of this place here, Migdal Eder, that was here in Gush Etzion. And another story, around 100 years ago, 1920s, right here they came, a group of Jews, some Yemenite Jews, some Ashkenazi Jews, some Hasidic Jews, and they established a community, and they called it Migdal Eder because of the pasuk of the Torah that Yaakov set up a tent here that he called Migdal Eder, and they wanted to bring Mashiach by settling the land here in the 1920s, here in Gush Etzion. They built some buildings, 2 buildings, right next to where Rami Levy was. That's where they set up Migdal Eder. Right between Beit Lechem and Hebron. And that group of Jews, without anything, in the 1920s, they experienced 2 winters. They lived here for 2 years and 2 winters, and they tried to plant things, and they tried to set up a life here in order to survive here. And the name of the place was Migdal Eder. But in 1929, the Arabs rioted and murdered Jews all around the country. Right, we're over 100 years fighting for our right to our lands, and our enemies are trying to call us. And the Arabs who came out of Jerusalem and Hebron, and we know what happened to the Jews of Hebron back in 1929. They were murdered by their Arab neighbors in Hebron, and some of them from Jerusalem. They passed by here, and they wanted to kill all the Jews who were here in Migdal Eder, and it's because of one Arab, Abu Isar, from the neighboring Arab village. This one Arab, he came and stopped the Arab rioters. Don't touch these Jews. They are my guests. You want to take their stuff? You want to take all their stuff? You want to destroy it? Go for it. But don't touch the Jews. And it's because of this one Arab, Abu Isa from Beit Umar, the Jews who were living here in Migdal Eder, these Jews were not touched, and they survived the Arab riots of 1929. Right, and then there's more history to the place. I'm telling you all this too because you should all know the history. You should know where we come from. And just like Shuli Mulam said before, our Jewish identity, our connection, our roots. What are we doing here? Why are we living here? What's the value for our struggle, for our homeland that we're struggling for over 100 years? And the answer is, we are the children of Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. That God promised to them that this would be their homeland. I will give you this homeland. L'cha, to you, I'm giving you the land. And l'cha, you, that's us, all of us today. And we are here in the merit of I can't believe myself. I'm here for 50 years, together with all the other old-timers who've been here for years. And we're struggling over our homeland. And some of us even sat in jail, and we struggled and we protested for 50 years. We're doing this, but I don't lose my optimism 1 second. Even with a bad government, I don't lose my optimism. What we have to do, we have to do. Me, like a little citizen, I'm a simple citizen. It's so clear to me that this land belongs to us. It was promised to us. And it's ours. It's simply ours, and only ours. And therefore it's so clear to me that tomorrow, or in 2 days, or in another 50 years, we're going to fill this land with more and more millions of Jews. And it'll be good. We have to be happy. Happy on everything that's ours and everything that's going. Kol hakavod, everybody. Especially to all the old-timers, and to all the men and the women who come here, and all the young people who are here, came out of this cold evening. I want you all to know, before everything, we're standing at the intersection of Gush Etzion. A day after there was a terror attack right here. First of all, we want to thank all of the soldiers who are protecting everybody. Thank God in that terror attack, the soldier shot and killed the terrorist before he was able to stab anybody. So thank you very much to all the Chayalim, all the soldiers who stopped the terror attack here.
ואנחנו רוצים באמת לחזק אותם, ששומרים עלינו כאן בימים, בלילות, בקור ובחום, זה קודם כל. ודבר שני, אנחנו נמצאים גם ביום דוגו לפני 2.5 שנים, אני הייתי עם דוגו באושוויץ. אני שמעתי את הסיפור שלו, מהפה שלו ממש.
2.5 years ago I was with Dugo and I learned from him.
אבל כשדוגו עושה את זה, אתם יכולים תסתכלו ביוטיוב ותסתכלו את כל הדוגו, אז אנחנו נגיד, עם ישראל חי! עם ישראל חי! עם ישראל חי וקיים! עם ישראל חי וקיים! עם ישראל חי וקיים ומבסוט! עם ישראל חי וקיים ומבסוט! אז מי חי, מה? לא אוכל פלאפל היום, אז שנייה לפני עם ישראל חי, אבל שני הדברים האלו מתחברים אצלי, ניסיון פיגוע.
So 2 things I want to connect is one, stopping the terror attack yesterday, and Dugo, who 70 plus years ago, he was in Auschwitz and he never lost his hope. And still today we say Am Yisrael Chai, the Jewish people live, and this is to remind everybody. And we have to remind, we are the Jewish people, and the Jewish people are alive. We think about our past. Every single day we think about our past, but we live our present and we look forward and take care of our future. A future of a Jewish people, of a Jewish identity to the Jewish state of Israel. Because there's so many people who want us to forget about our Jewish identity and forget our connection to our ancestral homeland. But we're standing here in this cold to remind all of us and everybody else that Am Yisrael is alive, the Jewish people are alive and well. We want a Jewish state. We want a state that's connected to our Jewish identity. And like Shuli said, it's not just about the religion, it's about our Jewish identity. It is forbidden for us to forget our Jewish identity and the Jewish connection to our homeland. That is what connects us to our homeland. That's what's going to connect us to continue to be the connection to us in our homeland.
אז עם ישראל חי, תודה רבה לכולם, ונמשיך להזכיר את זה כל הזמן.
And we have to always remind ourselves and everybody else, this is the land of Israel, they're the Jewish people.
Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael Chai. Am Yisrael Chai, Am Yisrael Chai. Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael, 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 Am Yisrael Chai. Od Avinu, Od Avinu, Am Yisrael Chai. Od Avinu Chai, Od Avinu Chai. Od Avinu, Od Avinu, Od Avinu Chai. אבינו חי, עוד אבינו חי, עוד אבינו, עוד אבינו, עוד אבינו חי. עם ישראל, עם ישראל, עם ישראל חי, עם ישראל, עם ישראל, עם ישראל חי, עם ישראל, עם ישראל, עם ישראל חי, עם ישראל, עם ישראל, עם ישראל חי. עוד אבינו חי, עוד אבינו חי, עוד אבינו, עוד אבינו, עוד אבינו חי, עוד אבינו חי, עוד אבינו חי, עוד אבינו, עוד אבינו, עוד אבינו חי. גבירותיי ורבותיי, אז אני אומר קצת דברי תורה.
I'm going to give a little Torah before we say the grace after meals, after the falafel we ate. Some words about our weird reality that we're living through. A weird reality that I remember reminds me about Gush Katif, that the government of Israel stood against the land of Israel. Our own government was against our own people, our own land, by destroying 21 Jewish communities in Gush Katif and expelling all the Jews from the Jewish communities in Gush Katif, Gaza. So 3 things I wanted to say. First of all, my parents are survivors of the Holocaust. They got married in England right after the Second World War. They tried to make Aliyah to Israel in 1950, but it didn't succeed. They tried again in 1958. They moved to Israel again, and again it didn't succeed. They tried again in 1969, and it finally worked. They were able to make it work, and they stayed here. 1969. In those days I said to my parents, you tried so hard, so many times, 3 times you tried to come move to the land of Israel. Why didn't you give up? Why you weren't part of a political movement? You weren't part of any Zionist movement. What said you to Israel and tried 3 times? And they got upset at me. They said, Shlomo. And they say, wait a second, did you ever read the Grace After Meals? Eretz Chadat Tovar, that when we talk about the unbelievable land of Israel, and all these blessings and the grace after meals, after our meals, where we're talking about the land of Israel. What is it, London? What is it, Zurich? What is it? No. We're Zionist Jews way before Theodore Herzl. We land the land of Israel before there was falafel, before there was a flag. The grace after meals, our prayers. We moved to Israel because of grace after meals. The land of Israel is the center of our identity as Jews forever. Second point. As an educator, I just wanted to give you an educational message. My parents grew up in schools named after Shimshon Raphael Hirsch. So here's an educational idea. What is prayer? And the Hebrew word nitpalel. Let's break down that word. What's the source of the word nitpalel? Halal. Okay. You do something over and over again. So when you pray, what are you doing? You're judging yourself each and every time. Every time you pray, you're judging yourself. You're stopping yourself. You say, wait a second. I want God to take care of my health. Wait, what am I doing with my health? Wait, I want to be successful. Wait, what am I doing with my success? So for us, we're a generation that we received the land of Israel, but we have to judge ourselves. What are we doing with the land of Israel? We have an opportunity that for thousands of years the Jewish people did not have, and we have to judge ourselves. What are we doing with our land of Israel that we were given as a gift? What are we doing with Jerusalem? And the last point I wanted to share with you, many years ago I was on a panel discussion against a leftist, and this was in front of students, and I said what I said, he said what he said. I couldn't convince him, he couldn't convince me, but at a certain point I took the gloves off, and I told him and everyone else there, and then it was Yasser Arafat was the leader of the Palestinian Authority. I said to him, Listen, if you're an honest guy, honest person, let's do this. Let's do this activity. I said to him, if Yasser Arafat would change the charter of the Palestinian Authority and take out all the anti-Semitic, anti-Jewish parts of the charter, and he put down his gun and recognized the land, the state of Israel, I will eat my hat and tell you leftists that you were right. You're right. Give them everything they want, because they really want peace with us. Now it's your turn. Now it's your turn. You turn, you leftist. You tell me what what needs to happen in order for you to recognize that you're going to be wrong. If Yasser Arafat itself even shoots people, is that will you admit that you're wrong? What has to be done? What do you have to see in order for you guys to admit that you would be wrong? And you couldn't say anything. The left has no red lines. We have red lines. The left has no red lines. We have to understand the land of Israel, even before the political Zionist movement began with Theodor Herzl. We have to understand that we have to always think, what are we, and judge ourselves, what are we doing with the land of Israel? And the third thing, like I said, we have to be very careful with our red lines, but understand that we are up against the left that has no red lines, and with God's help we will continue, and we're going to succeed. Amen, amen, amen.
Pulse of Israel, frontline videos from the Holy Land. Support our work by donating today.